Hi, Erica from Prey Species here. We received our Mother Goose Time box for the month earlier this week, and I'm pretty excited. It's actually focused on birds and eggs, which is one of my favorite topics. You can actually see the web theme poster right down here on the table, and you can see that we're going to be covering some topics about the birds in the nest and about the wonderful parts that make them up: their head, beak, body, wings, feet, claw, tail. We'll be talking about some specific birds, and then we'll also be talking a little bit about being able to enjoy watching them and learning a little bit more about their environment too. So the goodies that we got, of course, for some of our manipulatives, we have feathers, and we've got some links that are going to be used for counting and for shape making. We're going to be dancing with birds and eggs. I have a feeling we're going to be pretending to be hatching, which I think will be very entertaining. And then we have our shape, which is an oval to go along with the eggs. This is the stamp that comes along with the kit. And our color is purple. And as always, we have our letters. It looks like this month we're focusing on E, X, and Z. So these are just some of our goodies. And of course, as always, there's a collection of circle time songs, some available tools to put up in your schoolroom featuring the numbers, which are 8 and 18. Those are the ones we're focusing on this month. The oval shape we're focusing on. And one of the great things about Mother Goose Time is they always include a virtue or a character trait that we're focusing on. And this month it's going to be patience. And so again, they've got materials focusing on the letters. So here's N and E and X. So those are just some of the fun circle time materials that we have that we can provide to the kids to help them learn a little bit more about letters and colors and shapes. Now, one of the first things I do when I get my box is I open up this planning journal. Right on the inside of the journal, there is a picture collage of the projects, the invitations to create, the make and plays that are available for the kids to do. My daughter loves to look at these and figure out what interests her the most. And then, of course, there is the teacher guide, and I'm just going to give you a quick example of one of the days in the teacher guide. So for day 4, so one I have opened here, there is always a discussion question. So what do you think birds eat? And that always corresponds to one of the theme posters for the morning. So I often put it up and have them talk about it with me over breakfast. And then there's a little song or chant in here. It's 1 worm, 2 worms. And you always do it to a familiar tune. In this case, we're doing it to 1 potato, 2 potato. So 1 worm, 2 worm, 3 worm, 4 worm. So it looks like we're going to be working on some counting. And then we have an invitation to create, working on a bird feeder. So those materials are actually it's a make and play. So those materials are actually included within that day, individually packaged, so they're ready to go. And then they have a recommendation for a science discovery center where the kids can actually play and interact with some bird seed and other types of bird food. They have a recommended story, and then they have an activity that they can do called Feed the Birds. And this does look pretty fun. There's a collection of birds with the numbers on them, and you can put them on little jars or containers. And then they recommend using these counters that they had so they can feed the birds the certain number of clips to have them match up. So that's something that I think my son will actually enjoy immensely. And the other thing they have listed for this day's activities is actually a journal. And each month you get a My Little Journal, and there's a place for them to practice writing their name and draw some pictures. And they have a chance to work on some of their fine motor and handwriting. If they're not quite to the point where they can write their letters, they can certainly trace some of the shapes and start working on curves and lines. And there's always a fun little activity here at the end. Looks like they're going to draw a bird in a nest. This month, as with every month, there's a celebration kit for a holiday. This month we are going to be looking at Easter. So as always, there's a collection of activities and games, and all the stuff is included right there in the bag, ready to go. And then I know that I'm trying really hard to keep these What's in the Kit introductory sections short, but we did get a list of new themes for the upcoming year that I wanted to share with you, and I'm very excited about a lot of them. My Amazing Body comes first, and I've been really excited to do that with them. Weather, rainforest, dinosaurs, and It's a Small World promise to be fantastic. We're also going to explore space and the ocean and grow some gardens, and truly I can't wait for those. Two of my favorites are actually on here. When we first started doing Mother Goose Time with my daughter, we actually started with Nature Detectives, which starts in July, and did the Fables and Folk Tales. So I'm extremely excited to see those coming again. They were really, really good. All right, I'm going to sign off for this month, but I'll see you next month with What's in the Box. Thanks.